In this video we want to learn how to draw walls, doors, windows and ceilings in different kind of ways. The first thing I do, I just draw a really simple outline. To simulate my floor plan, I just use the Polyline Pro tool. It's a really nice plugin to enable me to draw lines like in AutoCAD. I just go 6 meters and X direction, I'm in centimeters. I go 10 centimeters, 10 meters in Y direction, again 8 meters in X direction, and 6 meters in Y direction, and last 40 meters in Y direction, and then I just say a right mouse click, close spline. So this is a little bit my floor plan, and the next minutes I just try different kind of variations in how to draw walls, windows and ceilings. The first thing I want to look at are the integrated wall, doors and windows tools. By the way, these are not my favorite tools because I think they already define a lot, but they're also really handy, so we just start with this. I have my snap function selected. I am at AEC extended. I just select object type wall, and here I can define the width of the wall, the height of the wall. Let's say it's 3 meters, and with justification I can just define the position. And you can see my mouse cursor, and I just deselect grid. I have my mouse, and if I go into justification left, you can just see that my mouse is on the left of the wall, and this just means in these terms I draw it to the inside. And if I go to the first point, I can just weld the whole thing and finish it with right mouse click. And if I go into perspective mode, then you can see that I already draw a really nice wall. If you look at the modifier tab of one wall, you can just see that there's a hierarchy. You have your vertex points, you have segments, and you have your whole profile. The interesting thing is how to integrate doors and walls. I just go back into create. I just go and open the menu and choose doors. Just because I don't have any snapping point, I just go into snap to edges, and I select pivot door. You can just see that I can snap to the edges. I just click and hold and just create the length of the door, and unclick my mouse. I define the width of the door, one mouse click, and I define the height of the door, next mouse click. Okay, that's it. I just adjust the settings. I just say 2m10, and the width is 1 meter, the wall is 30. I just go to 35, and if I look at this in my perspective mode, then you can already see that I draw a really nice door inside. The really nice thing about this door is that you can just move this door, and you also see that the opening of the wall is following, and you can change the parameters of the door, or you can still change the height, and I just undo. You can just change to a double door, and just change the width. You can flip it, and you can change the opening, animate the opening. You can adjust the frame. You can probably also change, just go into wireframe so you can see it better, the panels, the panel size, and things like this, and many other things, glass thickness, and so on. If I just go again into realistic mode and just select this door, and I just delete it, and if I select this wall again, you can just see that the hole in the wall disappeared again. Okay, let's go again into my top view. wireframe mode. And when I just deselect my snap to edges and I just go it again into door, just use for example like a sliding door right now, and again I just hold my mouse and unclick and move it to the top to define the width, and next step the height. We just have a look at this again into perspective mode. P perspective, and turn it around and go into my shaded mode, go into modify, and I will open my door. And what you can see right now here, just because I didn't do it too precisely, that it didn't connect to the wall. If this happened to you, you just should probably just draw it again. Or what you can also do, you can use the tool select and link. If I choose select and link and move into this, I can drag and drop from my door to the wall and just select it. Here we go. And now you can see that we can open the door and close the door because now it's connected to the wall. It would have been much better if I would have done it precisely already with snap to edge or probably snap to vertex, because there are some vertex points already in the wall. But anyhow, this is a good way if it doesn't work to make your door or your window working. Okay, I just delete it again. A window works pretty much the same. I just go into create, instead of doors I just choose windows, and I use again my snap to edges, zoom in and choose casement window. I select my line, I hold my mouse, I unclick, I define next step the width, and move my mouse again and I can define the height. That's it. Once I do it, I can just select my perspective window and move the window up, and for example like this. Not really nice, but would probably do it with right mouse click and move it with my offset, so I have a better control about this. And then I can just open my window, and you can see that this works well. The only thing which didn't work well are so far the dimensions of the window. I just go into 1 meter height and a width of 1.50 meters. And this already looks better. Quite small and pokey window, but not really important. And here you can see all the other things opening with one casement, and now with 2 casement. You can flip the swing, and you have a lot of other settings for your window. Okay, I finally changed the parameters of this window a little bit, especially the depth, and instead of the wall thickness I went to 10 centimeters thickness of the windows, which is a little bit more realistic. If you want to learn more about how to use the windows and what kind of window types you have, just enter Windows in 3D Studio help, so you can just see the different kind of windows which will be offered. Another thing good to know is if you want to do a visualization and you have to apply materials for glass and frame and things like this, you should be aware of that there's already a predefined material for all these 3D objects. You just open the material editor, you just go into get material, and you go into open material library. And next step, you just select your PC, you go into programs, you go into Autodesk 3D Studio Max, and next material libraries. Here you have your AEC templates. If you open this, you can see that there's a material for door. Just open it, and next position, I just do the same with the windows. And here you just should be aware of that these are standard materials. You can just exchange them, for example, to mental way materials, if I just go into standard material and click on standard, then you can just here, for example, go into a mental way material like glazing, and you just do it for the other ones. Here, for example, you just go for any hardwood material and things like this. And if you apply it to the window, just selected it and you just say assign material to selection, then you can just see that this is a really good and easy way to make this absolutely realistic for your visualization. Okay, I personally prefer the more basic way of how to draw walls and openings for doors. I just delete all my AEC objects and I'm back to my basic basic line. What I can do is I can draw a line, and I just use my snap function again. Sorry, I have to deselect snap to edges, obviously, and I just draw a line like this. I close it, close spline, and if I go into modifier tab and I select my spline, then you can just go down and you can define the outline. And if I just enter outline like 30 centimeters, then you can just see that you draw the outline 30 centimeters to the outside. And if I just, for example, sign in minus 30 centimeters, then you can just see that it goes to the inside. The next thing, you just apply an extrude modifier and you just enter a height, for example, like 2.70 meters, and that's also a way of how to draw a wall easily. Okay, I just delete it again. As an alternative, you can also just redraw the line. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, by the way, in this case, it's really important that you don't close the spline, because right mouse click, I just finished my line. What I want to do is I want to extrude this, and so I already have the height of my room. And next thing, I just add a shell modifier, and I can define the inside and the outer amount like I want, and in this case I just define the outer amount 30 centimeters. In this case it goes to the inside. Really important that you have to tick straighten corners, and then you also have drawn wall, and with shell function you define the thickness, and with extrude you just define the height, and that's a way of how to draw the wall. Another really simple way, sounds a bit strange, but I use a lot of quite often boxes, and I just draw a box. I have no other snapping point than the white one, and I just extend it also to a height of 2.70 meters. And once I started with the box, I just add an edit poly on top, go into vertex, select the vertex, and I can just with my snap function adjust it to any line, and I can also just go to the basic point and then right mouse click on my move tool, I just move it to 30 centimeters, and I also have a wall of 30 centimeters, so I just build a lot of boxes, and so every wall, part of the wall is completely independent. A good way of doing it. And if you want to draw an opening for a window with this simple kind of way, I just draw a box, and I just copy this box, and here again I use my vertex points like this, and I just copy the box again, and I just go into vertex and adjust this to my floor plan. And if you, for example, want to have a big window here in this area, let's have a look at this in perspective. You could do it like this. I just go in my left view. Here again, I just use select my vertex points. I just move my vertex points down, right mouse click, and now I can just move it to a height of 1 meter. And so there's a lower area. And if I want to have the top part of the opening for my window, I just copy it and move this down again, like this. Go into Edit Poly and adjust my vertex points, and this is the way of how to define an opening. Of course, you can also just draw another box. I just draw a box and just move it to define the window height. I just select my wall and I go into compound object. You can choose between Boolean or Boolean. I think both is fine in this case. You go into start picking and you deselect Boolean, and this is also a way of how to define an opening. The method with the box feels probably strange for you, but you just have to be aware of that these AEC extended tools are just interesting if you really have orthogonal architecture, if you have tilted walls, and if you have walls where the thickness probably will change in more advanced shapes. Then you probably can't use these tools so well anymore, and then you have to find your own method, and your own method then probably is based on lines, and really simple on lines or on boxes, and you still will get to really convincing result. Ceiling height, of course, is really simple. If you have this line, you can just go into extrude and define the height of the ceiling. I would do it differently. I would probably just put an edit poly on top. So this is a way of how you can convert it to an edit poly, or just say right mouse click convert to editable poly. It's also a way of how to do this. And if you then add the shell modifier, then you're better off because you have a better control of in which direction you actually extend your ceiling. Just have to draw my ceiling. I just copy my floor. Here it's like this. If you have problems to snap, for example, like the lower point, just zoom a little bit in so it's disconnected from Gizmo. I just select my lower point, hold my shift key, move my floor up, and I will create my ceiling. Just call it ceiling. And the other one I should have called floor, by the way. It's not important. And we just want to have a look in how to close these two sides with window. A good way of how to do this is to start with a plane. I just go into standards, standard primitives, and what is a handy tool is this AutoGrid. If I just draw a plane, it doesn't snap to anything on my objects. But if you go to AutoGrid, then you can just see that the gizmo will change, and you can already see when I'm on this surface that the Z direction shows exactly into the right direction. So just see what kind of snaps you chose. I want to catch this point. I just hold my mouse click. You can already see that there's a temporary grid, and I just move my mouse and I take the next point, and now I already draw a nice plane into the right area. I can also do it on this side, just see what how the gizmo reacts. I click and click again, and I closed it with the second side of my window. Okay, I want to show you two different ways of how to draw a window. I just isolate my first plane. I just went to front view, and you can also see that I can change the segments and use this only for window frame. I can add an edit poly on top, and adjust the height. For example, move this up a little bit, and I can then next step just make an insert of my whole thing, and for this I just go into animate mode. You don't have to do this, but there's the advantage of this. We have a look at this a little bit later. I just go into insert, and here it's really important that you use insert by polygon. For example, if you have an insert by polygon of 7 centimeters and just do this one again, then you already have a nice window frame, and I just call this edit poly insert. You don't have to do this, but it's handy because then you can change the parameters, and on top you just put an edit poly and delete your polygons, or you just put a delete mesh on top, and here we go, you have your window. The last thing you need is you have to put a shell modifier on top, and with the shell modifier you just define in which direction your window will extrude. For example, 5 centimeters to an inner amount, which already looks quite well. And if you just go into your insert again and you go into your settings, then you can just see that you still have an influence on your inside, just because you used it as animate or in animate mode. We just forgot to draw the window glass. I just named this window frame. I copy this string C, string V, paste it, and as a copy I just call this window glass. Here we go, and delete my modifier and move this obviously to the middle of my window, and I just move this down minus 2.5 centimeters, and the frame thickness is not really much. I just change it to an inner amount of sorry, I just add an outer amount of 3 centimeters, and you can already see that this is working quite well. Let's look at the second method, and I just isolate my second plane. Okay, well, we just look at this in my left view. I extend my viewport, I reduce my segments to 1, and I just add an edit poly on top. Here you can use the cut function and edit poly under edit geometry. In this case I deselected my snap toggle to be a little bit more flexible in choosing vertex point and edges. I just use cut, and you can just see the change of the cursor. This is a cursor for vertex point, this is a cursor for edge, and you just see that I can draw, I can cut my surface as one option, right mouse click, and I finish my cut, and I also deselect my cut. And what I can do is I can just go into edges, I can select all edges, and I can just say create shape. Before I do this, I just add tessellate on top to just show you that I can use whatever kind of tessellation or whatever kind of lines to create windows. Again, I go into edit poly, I select all my edges, string A, I go into create shape. Important if you want to have the linears, the lines like you see right now, you just go into linear and you just call it window frame. Okay, did it. Just press my H key and select my window frame shape. I go again into isolate selection, and this is now an editable spline, and you have the option to go into rendering enable in renderer, enable in viewport, and define, for example, like a rectangular thickness. What is much more interesting is just you just add a sweep modifier, just press X and just enter in sweep modifier, and here you can choose different kind of sections, and for example I just choose this T profile, and obviously you have to change the parameters a little bit, and you have to created a really advanced and nice window. By the way, you still see little issues with my sweep modifier. If you have complex shapes like this, the only thing you can do is you can clear it up, just add an edit poly on top and move the vertices on the line of your shapes. So again, snap mode and adjust it to the height. That's a way of how you can clean up corner bits of your sweep modifier if you have really advanced patterns like this. Okay, let's have a look again at how to build it up based on a rectangle. I just draw a rectangle. I'll just go into isolate selection, and now I can draw any other shape. For example, another rectangle inside. I deselect my snap because function doesn't want to do it quickly. I just add another rectangle. I add a circle. I add a star, and I add an n-gon or whatever kind of shape you want to use. And when I then use my rectangle and add an edit spline on top, or convert it right mouse click to an editable spline, I can just attach these shapes, like this one, which could be a window, this one could be an opening for a staircase, and whatever. I just attach these objects, I deselect my attach, and if I then just add an extrude modifier on top, then you can just see what's happening. You just created a ceiling, a wall, a window, or whatever in this surface, and you can adjust the thickness, and this is also a good way of how to draw openings. Thanks for watching.